Warning, this podcast contains themes of extreme violence and murder. Subject matter may be offensive to some listeners. Discretion advised.
Welcome to another episode of Evil Transgression, your homicide headquarters here in podcasting. I'm Josh, and with me as always, Dustin and Rex.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
What's going on?
Now you know.
We're struggling tonight.
That was bad.
We've probably spent about 5-7 minutes just trying to say that intro right there.
That's it, yeah.
It's all good. We're here.
It happens.
That's what happens.
What do you got?
That's what happens when we get together. Nothing
True.
but fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
When we're laying it down for the evil mob. Right?
You want to tell them what today is? Like what this episode is?
It's episode number 50.
50.
What?
Yeah,
We've made it that far.
50 of our regular episodes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Point that out. Because you don't want the people to be like, oh my God, you got like 53. You're like, well, yeah, one's alive. We didn't count that as a full episode.
Right.
Yep.
You got the dose of evil.
Yep.
And then your preview.
Yep.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Number 50 for us.
50.
Cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
We didn't think we'd make it past 5.
We might not make it past 50 at this rate. But because it is number 50, we decided why not have 2 patrons.
Ooh,
what?
Yeah.
2
of them. So sponsoring this episode, David and Tammy.
Thank you, David and
Thank
Tammy.
you, guys.
Waha.
Allah.
Whoa.
Pretty cool. They got to sponsor number 50.
It is. See, and you can be number 51. We'll explain at the end of this, and I'll explain something else at the end of this too.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, me either, because that's a surprise to both of us. We have a gentleman by the name of Richard Chase today.
Okay.
Very disturbed individual. And I will say this, before we get started, that if violence towards tiny children are not your thing, you might want to shut this episode off about 5 minutes from the end. And probably more than 5 minutes, because we like to ramble afterwards.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, this is your warning. There is a little bit of violence towards children.
Okay.
So you have been warned.
Thank you.
Do it.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, evil mob, as we discuss Richard Trenton Chase. Richard Trenton Chase was born on May 23rd, 1950, in Sacramento, California. The Chase household was a strict one, and Richard was often beaten by his father. By 10 years old, Richard was already exhibiting the 3 main signs of psychopathy: cruelty to animals, fascination with arson, and bedwetting. That is the triad, my friends, the McDonald triad.
It is.
Yep.
It wasn't much longer until he became heavily involved in drug use. So things are not going too well for a mentally ill young man, and you add drugs on top of the mental illness, and that's just a recipe for disaster. Richard Chase was already an alcoholic by his teens, so go ahead and add that as a cherry on top of your serial killer smoothie.
I like how you put that.
Right, yeah.
Throughout his time at Miraloma High School, Richard Chase struggled academically and socially. During his sophomore year, he was arrested for possession of marijuana. This was his first brush with the law. Even through his struggles, Chase still graduated from high school and went on to enroll at the American River College, where he would continue his struggle academically. Now, when I say continuing a struggle, he's like a C student in college. He's like C's,
good, isn't
C's
it?
and D's and F's in high school, and then he was like, "Hey, I got C's, D's, and F's in high school. I might as well go to college."
Yeah, I mean, that's still 2 grades higher than Dustin, so.
Yeah.
Now, during his time in high school, Richard Chase had a handful of girlfriends, but did not maintain a relationship with any of them. The reason being was Richard Chase suffered from impotency.
Ooh.
Now that he was in college, he went to a psychiatrist for help. You don't want to be impotent in college, man.
No, you don't.
The psychiatrist told Richard Chase that the reason he was impotent was either mental illness or suppressed rage. That's neither good news.
No, not at all.
It would later be found that Chase was only aroused when doing violent acts or necrophilia.
Okay, that's really weird.
That is.
So yeah, I just let you in on a little secret of Richard Chase.
Wow.
So even though mental illness was thought to be a problem, no more counseling was sought, which I find fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So they
it
know
might be
all this
mental
about him?
illness, but we won't know. Talk to you later. Make sure you pay on the way out.
Copay.
In February of 1971, Richard Chase moved out and rented an apartment with a few friends. Now, the drug use continually got worse, as well as the mental illness. Now, when I say the drug use, I'm talking he was smoking marijuana and he was doing a little LSD.
Ooh.
Mental illness and LSD,
Yeah.
not a good
Big,
idea.
big difference.
LSD just by itself is not a good idea.
Exactly. Richard Chase would board up his room and closet, and eventually the friends that he'd moved in with had not only grown tired of his drug abuse, but his strange actions, decided to ask him to leave.
I don't blame him.
When he didn't, they moved out, and Richard was forced to move back to his parents' home in May of 1971. He couldn't afford to live there on his own. A year later, Richard Chase's parents would divorce, and Richard Chase would share time between his mother and father. In April of 1973, while attending a friend's party at an apartment, Richard Chase was asked to leave after fondling a female. He left but returned, so the cops were called. When the cops arrived to escort him out of the party, a .22 caliber handgun fell from his waistband. He was arrested, and his father bailed him out. Chase then moved to Los Angeles to stay with his grandmother in May of 1973. While staying with her, he began to complain of false head injuries and other illnesses. She took it as long as she could and eventually sent him back home to Sacramento after a few months. Back home, he continued to complain of these head injuries until he was seen by a neurologist. The neurologist concluded that Richard Chase was suffering from a psychiatric disturbance of major proportions. So now you've got 2 different doctors telling you that basically this guy's not right upstairs.
Right.
On December 1st, 1973, a 23-year-old Chase went to the American River Hospital in Sacramento and told doctors and nurses someone had stolen his pulmonary artery and his blood flow had stopped.
What?
Is that possible?
I'm pretty sure if someone stole your pulmonary artery, you're not walking into the hospital.
I was just wondering.
Especially if your blood flow had stopped. They admitted him into the psych ward. However, his mother would check him out. So his parents are pretty much enablers.
Oh, definitely.
At
Sounds
least
like it.
That's what I'm getting out of it. While living with his mother, Richard began to accuse her of trying to kill him by poisoning him, which is also something that she did to her husband. So mommy had a little bit of crazy in her too.
Ooh.
Now this caused the father to get him an apartment and force him to move out of his mother's home. He's like, you're apparently too crazy to live with your mom, so we'll just put you out on your own.
That's going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Once he was on his own in his apartment, things continued getting pretty funky. Richard Chase began to capture, kill, and disembowel different animals, which he would then eat raw.
Wow.
He even started putting parts of the animals in a blender and drinking it, believing that it would prevent his heart from shrinking.
What?
He was afraid his heart was shrinking, and if it got too small, it would kill him.
Oh, man.
How the Grinch is like, his heart was 3 sizes too small. It's really not funny, though, because this guy really is, like, mentally ill.
Yeah, that's
and his
true.
parents are like, we should let him live by himself.
Right.
Yeah,
with no supervision.
Not a good decision.
In 1976, Richard Chase was found by his father very ill in his apartment. He was committed to a mental hospital after it was found out he had contracted blood poisoning. And how did he get that, you ask? From injecting rabbit's blood into his veins.
Oh.
That's awful.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
No.
I did hear that Charlie Sheen was drinking tiger blood or something like that, wasn't it?
What?
I remember he was like, it's tiger blood. Richard Chase was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic. He would escape from the hospital and go to his mother's house, where he would be apprehended and sent to an institution for the criminally insane. This was a more secure institution where he couldn't escape easily. While in the institute, Richard would tell the staff how he enjoyed killing rabbits and drinking their blood. It's not a good idea to tell the hospital staff at the mental institute that you like killing rabbits and drinking their blood.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely
Especially
not.
if you're trying to get out.
Right.
Yeah, well, he was once found with blood smeared all over his face, and the hospital staff found 2 dead birds that he had captured through the bars on his bedroom windows. They had ripped their heads off and drank their blood.
Wow.
What?
So the staff then gave him the nickname Dracula.
Oh, well, yeah.
After a series of psychotropic drug treatments, Richard Chase was considered no longer to be a threat to society and was released into the custody of his mother and father.
That was smart.
His mother, who thought she knew more than the doctors, took it upon herself to wean Richard off his anti-schizophrenic medication because she didn't think he needed it.
Oh,
That's not good.
no.
Like, what is she thinking?
She's not.
Well, she's crazy too, so.
Hey, your son was just in the hospital for injecting rabbit's blood into his veins.
And drinking bird blood.
And then he goes to a institution for the criminally insane and rips heads off birds and drinks it, but he's fine.
Yeah, he doesn't need meds.
And to top it off, Mommy and Daddy put Richard back into his own apartment, where he would continue his career of killing animals and drinking their blood.
Oh, of course.
Dogs, cats, rabbits, it didn't matter. In fact, one day he showed up at his mother's house, knocked on the door, waited for her to open it before showing her he had a dead cat in his hands. He throws the cat down on the steps, rips it open, and starts rubbing its blood and guts on his face.
What?
Yeah. So what's Mom do?
Joins?
She calmly shuts the door and doesn't report the incident to anyone.
Well, of course not.
Like, what kind of lady, like, opens the door, this guy rips a cat open, rubbing blood and stuff all over him, and she's like, my shows are on, Richard. I'm missing my stories. Richard Chase had also started becoming quite the gun fanatic, purchasing several firearms. I mean, it is the 70s, so gun laws are pretty crappy.
So there's no law against this. Like
No.
there is now.
Right.
Oh.
In June of 1977, Richard's mother helped him plan a trip to Washington. She gave him $1,450 and sent him on his way. He stayed in Washington for about 3 weeks before making his way to Colorado, where he purchased a 1966 Ford Ranchero for $800. The Ford Ranchero might be the Barbie dream car of serial killers. As we just discussed the gentleman driving around in his Ford Ranchero.
Yes, we did.
On August 3rd, 1977, Nevada State Police discovered Richard Chase's Ford Ranchero near Pyramid Lake, Nevada. Inside the car, police found 2 rifles and a bucket full of blood and a cow's liver.
Oh, of course.
Not too far from the car, the police found Richard Chase in the sand. They found him because he was screaming at the top of his lungs, but he was naked with blood smeared all over his body, screaming.
Maybe his heart was shrinking.
It might have been.
Yeah.
He told the police that the blood was his. It was leaching out of his body.
Oh my God.
It wasn't. It was the blood in the bucket from whatever cow he had killed.
Oh, wow.
Jesus. And that's not enough to take him and put him away for a while?
Well, he was arrested, but released when the U.S. attorney decided not to prosecute him.
Idiots.
They're like, what are you charging with for just being naked in the wilderness with blood all over you? Chase returned back home to Sacramento to continue feasting on his neighbor's animals. Richard Chase decided to kick up his criminal activity on December 27th, 1977, when he fired a .22 caliber handgun into a woman's home in Sacramento. Nobody was injured, and Chase got away without being caught. 2 days later, things got even worse. On December 29th, 1977, 51-year-old Ambrose Griffin was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting while helping his wife carry in groceries. Police determined by ballistic testing that the same gun fired the bullet into the home of the woman 2 days before Griffin was killed. So you've got two crimes connected by this .22 caliber handgun now.
Right.
In January of 1978, Richard Chase was institutionalized for his paranoid schizophrenia when he went to the hospital again, claiming his head was changing shape because someone had stolen his pulmonary artery.
Again, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if someone steals your pulmonary artery, and I mean, sometimes it'll cause you to stop, your blood to stop flowing like the originally. This time it's causing his head to change shape.
That's awful.
Yeah, it is.
So once again, he's institutionalized in January, right? This is clearly the earliest part of January because he was released, however, and a few days later on January 11th of 1978, he attacked a neighbor for a pack of cigarettes.
Dang.
Like he asked the neighbor for a smoke and she's like, sure. And he's like, give me the whole pack, and like grabs up on her.
Wow.
But no charges were filed against him for the attack.
Now you see why I don't talk to my neighbors?
You should.
This is why.
Right.
But things continue to get bad. On January 23rd, Richard Chase goes on a mini crime spree and breaks into several homes where people had left their doors unlocked. In one of the homes, Chase is surprised to find a man and his wife home, and the man fights off Chase, who then fled. Now, this is what's insane to me is his breaking into houses isn't like breaking windows out or like busting doors down. He just goes up and tries the door handle.
Yeah, just walks in.
And if it's unlocked, he's going to go inside. If it's not unlocked, his mental thought, like the way his mind works, is if it's locked, they don't want me in there. So he leaves and goes to another house.
Interesting.
So he eventually finds the wrong house, and this guy and his wife are home, and the man chases him out of the house. But he still gets away. And he doesn't go home. What's he do? He goes to another house where he would encounter Teresa Wallen, who was at home while her husband was actually at work. Now, Chase shot Teresa 3 times. 2 of those times were in the head. One was like a defensive wound on her hand.
Wow.
Richard Chase dragged Teresa into the bedroom. This is where it's going to get real bad, where he raped her lifeless body while stabbing her several times with a butcher knife. He then cut her body open, removed her organs, all while catching the blood in a bucket. He then took the bucket of blood into the bathroom and took a little bath in it.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Chase returned to the bedroom to cut off one of Teresa's nipples using an empty yogurt container to catch what was left of her blood so he could drink it.
Wow.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
He's not done. Before he left, Richard Chase went outside, got some dog feces, returned inside, and stuffed it into Teresa's mouth.
What?
Damn.
This is where it's real, real bad.
Oh, it hasn't been bad yet?
Teresa Wallen was 3 months pregnant.
Oh.
Again, the police discover it was the same weapon linked to the other 2 crimes, and again, Chase gets away without being caught. I mean, all they have is basically these 2 or 3 bullets, these slugs,
Right.
from that .22 caliber handgun connecting the crimes.
Right.
2 days after the murder of Teresa Wallen, Richard Chase bought 2 puppies from a neighbor. He took them home and raised them to be wonderful puppies. No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, there's no way.
He killed them, drank their blood, and threw their dead bodies back on the neighbor's front lawn.
What?
I mean, I'm hoping at that point then somebody, this was a red flag for somebody.
You would think, right?
Oh, God.
I mean, how in God's name is this guy not locked up?
Right.
Well, he hasn't been caught.
I mean, he's clearly caught, though. I mean, the neighbor sold him the puppies,
Yeah,
and then he
threw it
finds
back in
the dead
yard.
bodies of the same puppies on his front yard. Like,
Yeah.
the neighbor, he attacked the neighbor for the cigarette.
Yeah. Well, my thing is the neighbors don't know that he's not all there.
I mean, I would like to think they did.
I mean, I wouldn't want to sell a puppy to a guy that eats animals.
Mm-hmm.
Inside the house, Richard Chase encounters 52-year-old Dan Meredith, who was Evelyn's boyfriend, Evelyn's 6-year-old son Jason, and Evelyn's 22-month-old nephew David. Evelyn was in the bath at the time, and Dan Meredith was the first to make contact with Richard Chase. Chase shot him point blank in the head. He then chased 6-year-old Jason through the house, shooting him twice in the head, before then shooting 22-month-old David in the head.
Wow.
It's awful.
Richard Chase then entered the bathroom where he shot Evelyn once in the head. Once again, Richard Chase took the body of his female victim into the bedroom where he raped the body several times and drank her blood after stabbing her several times. Chase returned to the body of 22-month-old David, took his body into the bathroom where he split the skull open and consumed some of the brain matter.
Oh, my God.
When a young girl knocked on the door, Richard Chase fled, stealing Dan Meredith's wallet and car, also taking with him the corpse of 22-month-old David. So he's on the run with a dead baby.
And a stolen car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can add that in there too. This is evil at its finest.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying with the stolen car, I mean, I would really hope that they're getting ready to catch him now.
At the scene, police discovered again the same .22 caliber handgun was used. They also found bloody handprints and a shoe print of the killer. They're having evidence now. I don't know how they don't have evidence from the gruesome murder that he did before this, but
Right.
now they've got a good quality handprint and a shoe print. A massive hunt for 22-month-old David was underway. Meanwhile, Richard Chase was back home consuming the blood and organs of the child. A tip from a neighbor who had suggested that Richard Chase may be responsible for some of the crimes put the police on Richard's trail. When the police started looking into him, they discovered that Chase had a .22 caliber handgun registered in his name. So police decided to go give him a little talking to. When police arrived at his home to question him, Chase refused to talk to the police, so they waited for Richard to leave the house. When he did, the police arrested him, finding traces of blood on his clothing. So there's your sign right there. Hey, we got a tip.
Yeah.
We know that you own this caliber handgun that's been used in all these murders. And now you got blood on your clothing. Buddy, we might have some things to talk about here.
Right.
They need to get him.
Well, they also found Richard Chase carrying Dan Meredith's wallet, so that connects him directly to the last murder.
Good.
Upon a search of Richard Chase's apartment, investigators found blood pretty much all over the house, as you can imagine, including in the kitchen where the bloody blender was found. Remember those delicious smoothies?
Oh, yes.
This dude kind of grosses me out. Like big time.
Yeah,
should.
It's bad.
Several organs from his victims were found wrapped in saran wrap, both human and animal. The .22 caliber handgun was also recovered. The body of baby David, however, was not found. During interrogation, Chase admitted to the crimes without showing any remorse to what he had done. On March 24th, 1978, the remains of baby David were found at a vacant lot in a cardboard box between a church and a supermarket. The trial started on January 2nd, 1979. Defense attorneys attempted to go after an insanity plea, but psychiatrists found Richard Chase to be sane during his crimes, which I don't know how that happens because I personally think he's downright severely insane.
Oh, for sure.
I do too.
Either way, Richard Chase was found guilty of 6 counts of first-degree murder on May 8th, 1979, and sentenced to death by way of the good old gas chamber. Richard Chase was put on death row at San Quentin State Prison. During his wait for death, Richard Chase was temporarily sent to Vacaville State Hospital because he was having trouble with his medications. He returned back to San Quentin after a short stay. Now, his time in prison is weird because they said that the inmates had learned of what he had done and how he was. And keep in mind that he had stopped taking care of himself a while back. I mean, when you're just consuming like body parts and animal parts and stuff like that, you're not taking care of yourself very well. So he was like down to like 145 pounds. Like he was just a 5'11" lanky dude.
Wow.
But these inmates, and I'm talking gang leaders and gang members, and we're talking San Quentin. We're not talking Shady Lane. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Wouldn't mess with him. They feared this dude because they knew of what they heard about what he did. Nobody wanted to get close enough to him to do anything to him.
Dang, that's crazy.
So, I mean, everybody's pretty much staying away from Richard Chase. Now, on December 26, 1980, the lifeless body of Richard Chase was found in his cell. He had committed suicide with an overdose of prison doctor-prescribed antidepressants that he had saved up over a short period of time.
Dang.
Richard Chase was only 30 years old at the time of his death.
This whole time, in my mind, I was picturing him as like an older guy.
Young guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is the story of Richard Chase,
That was awful.
the Vampire of Sacramento.
That was awful.
Yeah.
It was
that was a
absolutely
bad
horrible.
one for sure.
Yeah. It was really gross.
It might be one of the goriest that we've done.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Now, I left out some details when it came to the 22-month-old kid.
Uh-huh.
I left out quite a bit of details because although, you know, I hate doing that, like, because I feel like we're leaving part of the story out, but it's something that I wasn't even comfortable saying, the things that he did to this kid. And there's a very, very hot place in hell for this dude. And also, I think for his parents as well. Well, his mother for sure.
Yeah.
Because you knew there was an issue.
Right.
You took him off his meds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's
She's part
got to
of the
have some
problem.
sort of responsibility. I mean, yeah, he has to be responsible for his own actions. And he's going to be. He is, or however you want to say it.
But
You
she
know what
was
I'm
an
saying?
enabler, you know?
Like, you're just giving me a dumb look. Am I making sense?
No, you're making
That's-
sense.
That's
I'm,
his normal.
I'm following.
That's
I'm
his
following.
normal look.
I mean, he's got to be responsible for his own actions. But to me, somebody else should also be responsible
Yeah.
in terms of
His parents
you knew
definitely.
he had a mental illness. He was diagnosed with a mental illness. He was on medication for this mental illness, and you sent him out on his own and took his, you weaned him off his meds and then put him in his own apartment, and you knew he wasn't right.
Well, and then he killed a cat and brought it to you.
Yeah, and she was like, "I'm watching my stories, Johnny."
Uh-huh.
That's a tough one. It's a gory one.
Yeah.
That is.
Yep.
That was gross.
I figured for number 50, we was going to make it a memorable one.
A good one. You did.
Good thing I still have to eat dinner.
Yeah. Have fun sleeping tonight.
Yeah. No kidding.
I was going to have a smoothie.
Not no more.
Oh, brutal.
Never. So, what you got, Rick?
All right. If you haven't gone to our Facebook page yet, please do so. Give us a like. We typically will have a photo or something to go along with our weekly stories. If you have any ideas, comments, you can email us at eviltransgression@gmail.com. Dustin, take it away.
All right, so for like the last 20 episodes, I've been giving out the wrong Patreon, and I didn't realize it. So I want to address it on this one.
Thank you.
It is actually patreon.com/eviltransgression podcast.
So what happens if they go to the one that you kept saying?
It just comes up my name. It just gets me.
Dustin.
It just says Dustin. So
That's why I always say it's easier just to click on the link in the description, or go to the description or go to our links in the description where it says our links. Click on that, and you can find all of our links there. A Threadless store, which we got some pretty sweet shirts.
True.
You're wearing one right now.
I got one on right now,
He
and
is.
it's soft. It's soft and
It looks pretty
so
soft.
comfy. Yeah, all our links are there to the Facebook, everything.
Yep.
It's your go-to shop.
Yeah.
One-stop shop.
Yep.
One-stop shop.
That was a good time. I'm literally wore out after this episode.
Yeah.
It was probably the 25 minutes of hysterical laughter trying to get the
Started.
the first
Minute.
minute of this podcast out.
Hey, make that a Patreon-only episode.
The blue,
Just the bloopers.
Just us laughing.
We've teased that before. I hope there's a way that you have some of our bloopers, and we'll just make a blooper
I
reel.
definitely have some, so I'll dig them out. And
I
put 'em
think
together.
like one of these days we should just have like a 30-minute blooper reel, and it'd be like just like a special episode.
That would
you
be
wouldn't
great.
learn anything on
No,
it.
there would be no stories. It would just be
Yeah, I mean
mispronunciations.
You would not, and a lot of times you would not want to listen to it in front of your pastor or your grandmother.
True.
But it is pretty funny stuff.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Awesome. You know what? I got one more thing.
Oh, okay.
So I tease you with, I'm done. And I got one more thing. I think next episode, we're going to start something a little different at the
Really?
end. Yeah. I want to do, because we ask for it all the time of, hey, send us a question that we can answer. The three of us can answer during an episode. I want to do like a question an episode from somebody.
Oh, okay. That'd be cool.
Every week we get a question. So start sending us some questions. It could be like,
Why is Dustin such an idiot?
yeah,
Things
or
like that.
Who's got bigger boobs out of us three? It's Josh.
who, what got you into this
Right.
genre of garbage,
Yeah.
true crime, insanity stuff. And I would say, Dustin made me. But yeah, so next
That's a
week,
good idea.
Send
I
us
like
send us a question.
Yes.
We'll start doing
We'll
it.
pick one and we'll do it every week.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
So stay tuned at the end of our episode for your question. It might just be on here.
It might.
Could be.
Never know.
All right.
Yes.
So until next time, Evil Mob.
See ya.
See ya.
Peace.